No, there's probably not any weed in your kid's Halloween candy. Do you know how expensive edibles are? Every year, police departments across the country warn parents via the media to be on the lookout for cannabis edibles in their children's Halloween candy.
The police department in Pennsylvania seized these packages of drug-laced Nerds Rope candies.
Another reason to keep a close eye on any Halloween candy that your kids may come home with this year. A Pennsylvania Sheriff's Department just confiscated THC-tainted candy that looked completely harmless.
These reports are completely unfounded. You'd be hard-pressed to find a single report of it ever happening. I couldn't. As a child of the 80s, I remember warnings of people putting pins in Halloween candy and stories, mostly perpetuated by frightened parents, of children being poisoned by Halloween candy. And while there have been cases of people poisoning children and attempting to pass these poisonings off as coming from Halloween candy, according to Snopes, quote, police have never documented actual cases of people randomly distributing poisoned goodies to children on Halloween. Those stories in the 80s were meant to teach kids to be wary of strangers. And while there are probably better ways to teach your kids lessons like that without scaring the shit out of them, they were, for the most part, pretty effective. On October 10th, the Johnstown Police Department in Pennsylvania issued a warning on its Facebook page after authorities found, quote, Nerds Rope edibles containing 400 milligrams of THC during a bust. The department had absolutely no inkling that those candies would end up in children's Halloween bags, but since the bust happened during the same month as Halloween, they said, quote, during this Halloween, we urge parents to be ever vigilant in checking their children's candy before allowing them to consume those treats. Drug-laced edibles are packaged like regular candy and may be hard to distinguish from the real candy, end quote. After the police made a statement, it literally set off hundreds of news reports around the country, fear-mongering by leaning on their words.
Most of it was Nerds Rope edibles.
Drug-laced Nerds Rope candies.
Nerds Rope edibles. During a raid, officers found candy that looks like nerd ropes, but they were actually laced with THC, the psychoactive chemical that's found in marijuana.
While there are some edibles on the street packaged in a way to make them look similar to traditional candy, no one is putting those edibles in your kid's treat bag. Cannabis consumers pay pretty good money for their edibles and would likely much rather get high themselves or sell them to someone else who wants to get high versus give them away to a child. Legal states with cannabis edibles have strict packaging guidelines that restrict producers from packaging them to appeal to kids. So if nothing else, the people putting out these reports are in essence making a fight for legalization. But even if someone were to dose your kid with weed, there's a pretty good chance that there's something in the bag that's far more dangerous. Sugar. The American Heart Association recommends that children ages 2 to 18 should eat or drink less than 25 grams of added sugar per day. For those of you who aren't sure how much 25 grams of sugar is, a single 12-ounce can of Coke contains 39 grams of added sugar, and a fun-sized Snickers bar, the kind your kids get in their Halloween bags, contains 8 grams of added sugar. The AHA says that, quote, eating foods high in added sugars throughout childhood is linked to the development of risk factors for heart disease, such as an increased risk of obesity and elevated blood pressure. So instead of worrying about some unfounded reports to be on the lookout for cannabis edibles in your kid's candy, maybe worry about obesity and type 2 diabetes instead.